Reading passages 2. You should spend about 20 minutes on questions 14 to 26, which are based on reading passages 2 below. A. There is a great concern in Europe and North America about declining standards of literacy in schools. In Britain, the fact that 30% of 16-year-olds have a reading age of 14 or less has helped to prompt massive educational changes. The development of literacy has far-reaching effects on a general intellectual development, and thus anything which impedes the development of literacy is a serious matter for us all. So the hunt is on for the cause of the decline in literacy. The research so far has focused on socio-economic factors or the effectiveness of traditional versus modern teaching techniques. B. The fruitless search for the cause of increasing illiteracy is a tragic example of the saying, they can't see the wood for the trees. When teachers use picture books, they are simply continuing a long established tradition that is accepted without question. And for the past 2 decades, illustrations in reading primers have become increasingly detailed and obtrusive, while language has become impoverished, sometimes of the point of extinction, sometimes to the point of extinction. See, amazingly, there is virtually a no um, Amazingly, there is virtually no empirical evidence to support the use of illustrations in teaching reading. On the contrary, a great deal of empirical evidence shows that pictures interfere in a damaging way with all aspects of learning to read. Despite this, from North America to the antipodes, and the first books that many people, children, receive are totally without text. D. Our teacher's main concern is to help young beginner readers to develop not only the ability to recognize words, but the skills necessary to understand what these words mean. Even if a child is able to read aloud fluently, he or she may not be able to understand much of it. This is called barking at text. The teacher's task of improving comprehension is made harder by influences outside the classroom, but the adverse effects of such things as television, video games, or limited language experience at home can be offset by experiencing rich language at school. E. Instead, it is not unusual for a book of 30 or more pages to have only one sentence full of repetitive phrases. The artwork is often marvelous, but the pictures make the language redundant, and the children have no need to imagine anything when they read such books. Looking at a picture activity prevents children younger than 9 from creating a mental image, and can make it difficult for older children. In order to learn how to comprehend, they need to practice making their own meaning in response to text. They need to have their innate powers of imagination trained. F. As they grow older, many children turn aside from books without pictures, and it is a situation made more serious as our culture becomes more visual. It is hard to wean children off picture books when pictures have played a major part throughout their formative reading experiences, and when there is competition for their attention from so many other sources of entertainment. The least intelligent are most vulnerable, but tests show that even intelligent children are being affected. The response of educators has been to extend the use of pictures in books and to simplify the language, even at the senior levels. The universities of Oxford and Cambridge recently held joint conferences to discuss the noticeably rapid decline in literacy among the undergraduates. G. Pictures are also used to help motivate children to read because they are beautiful and eye catching, but motivation to read should be provided by listening to stories well read, where children imagine to respond to the story. Then, as they start to read, they have this experience to help them understand the language. If we present pictures to save children the trouble of developing these creative skills, then I think we are making a great mistake. H. Academic journals ranging from educational research, psychology, language learning, psycholinguistics, and so on cite experiments which demonstrate how detrimental pictures are for beginner readers. Here is a brief selection. I. The research results of the Canadian educationalists Dale Willows were were clear and consistent. The pictures affected the speech and accuracy, and the closer the pictures were to the words, the slower and more inaccurate the child's reading became. She claims that when children come to a word they already know, then the pictures are unnecessary and distracting. If they do not know a word and look into the picture for a clue to its meaning, they may well be misled by aspects of the pictures which are not closely related to the meaning of the word they are trying to understand. J. Uh, J. Samuels, an American psychologist, found that poor readers gave no pictures learned significantly more words than those learning to read with books with pictures. He examined the work of other researchers who had reported problems with the use of pictures and who found that a word without a picture was superior to a word um, plus a picture. When children were given words and pictures, those who seemed to ignore the pictures and pointed at the words learned more words than the children who pointed at the pictures, but they still learned fewer words than the children who had no illustrated stimuli at all.